Hi, this is my final reflection. In this reflection, I'm going to be speaking about my expectations, my obstacles, and how I've grown as a teacher. My expectations of this teaching practicals were very naive. I believe this is based from the fact that I have come from a privileged all-girls school in KwaZulu-Natal, and it is from this that I had gained my expectations. I expected to be able to stand in front of a classroom, tell them to be quiet, and for them to listen. Furthermore, I thought that I could be energetic and enthusiastic, and the students would respond appropriately to this. However, this was based on students like myself, and the students I were teaching were very different to me. I'd also had this expectation that being a teacher was an easy job, that you could simply stand up and wing it, and I had no idea of the admin and the preparation that went behind closed doors. I also did not know the personal interest that teachers take in the students' lives and the extramurals that are expected the teachers to partake in. Therefore, speaking about my obstacles, my expectations played a huge role in making my obstacles more diverse and harder to deal with in the beginning. However, I believe that my obstacles were an incredibly important learning curve, and I now really appreciate the obstacles that I was faced. The most important obstacle, I believe, is that I was a very different student and a very different person to the students that I was interacting with. I had a very different upbringing to them, and therefore was often difficult to understand where they were coming from and to understand them. This meant that I didn't always use the appropriate means of discipline and the appropriate means of teaching in my first few weeks of teaching. Another obstacle that played probably the most important role was behavior. Many of these students have absent parents and do not have role models. They therefore do not respect their teachers and often are high or drunk in class. However, this may seem extreme. There were cases where I had to deal with this. The students don't just respect you because they are told to, nor do they respect you if you stand in front and shout at them. The obstacle that I faced was having to adapt my teaching style and adapt my way of discipline to suit these students. I needed to show them that they could respect me and that I would respect them. This meant getting involved in extramurals. It showed me the importance of taking an interest in these students and showing them that you genuinely care. The obstacle of behavior was far and had many different aspects of it. Firstly, it inhibited the learning that could take place because often the students simply did not want to listen. Secondly, the behavior went beyond just the classroom, and the teachers in many instances had to get involved. And thirdly, behavior was affected by the fact that they impacted the teacher that I then became. Another aspect that was an obstacle for me was that I battle with organization. I realized that I am an incredibly disorganized person, and teaching has shown me how I need to learn from this and how I need to grow. Behavior played an important role, and because of the behavior that I was exposed to, I believe that I have now created a diverse means of disciplining that is appropriate to the students. When I was doing my teaching practicals, I saw how the students responded to shouting and screaming and negative reinforcements. I could learn from the peers around me and from the teachers around me, and I could see that the students simply revolted against this and that their behavior just was exacerbated. I therefore could implement positive reinforcements, and I could show them that I genuinely cared. However, this was a massive obstacle as it took lots of time. Another obstacle that I had not foreseen is the role that the mentor teacher played. My mentor teacher in my second teaching practicals was very dogmatic. She was very unwilling to listen to the students, and this made it very difficult. In many instances, she interrupted me and undermined me, and thus it impacted the way that the students looked at me. What I've learned is that you need to think on your feet and that you need to deal with situations that you didn't know how to deal with before. From my mentor teacher, I learned to stand up for myself while still remaining respectful, and saying that even though a teacher is more experienced than you, it does not mean that they are better than you. You need to stick to your teaching philosophy and to the reason that you became a teacher. Another obstacle that I faced is balancing my personal life with being a teacher. It is very important that teaching does not overrule your life and that you have a personal life, but also that your personal life doesn't take priority and that you put enough effort and input into being a teacher. These obstacles have played a huge role, and I believe that without these obstacles and without going to the schools that I've gone to, I would not be the teacher I am today. A particular example that has really stuck to me was a child that was very, very badly behaved and would not listen to any teacher that told him that he was wrong. I didn't know this, and I hadn't stereotyped him. So when he arrived at extramurals, I treated him like any other student. And in fact, I treated him with more respect as my mentor teacher was very rude to him, and I felt sorry for this boy. What I saw over the next few weeks at my time at my teaching practical was I saw this boy blossom, and at the end of it, he wrote me a very kind and overwhelming message to thank me. This is when I saw the impact that a teacher can make, and how even though the students may not be similar to us, you can find common ground. Another obstacle at my first teaching practical that I experienced was the use of drugs. I needed to see the role that a teacher played and where to draw the line. Because I had this idea that a teacher could change the world and you could change a student. I didn't always know where to draw the line, and this is where I relied heavily on my mentor teacher, who was always able to assist in this regard. I needed to see that the teacher plays an important role, but it is only a teacher, and that from there they need to give it to further, more experienced people. I could see that to deal with a diverse group of people meant that you needed to adapt and change accordingly. It also meant that you had to be extremely prepared, that you needed to respond to situations and to students at the drop of a hat. It is because I attended a school where there was such a diverse group of students that I've been able to develop these strategies and these techniques. Had I been at a school where the students sat when told to, spoken when told to, and put up their hands, I don't think I would have grown like I have. These obstacles have been so important because it has also been an eye-opener to show that the students that sit when told to, put their hands when asked to, are not the stereotype of South Africa, but rather the government schools, the students that battle to come to class and that do not have role models is what makes up the learners in South Africa. It is therefore so important to be able to have these strategies and know how to cope with a class that doesn't want to respect you. It also forces you to get more actively involved in the school and with the students. And this is something that I have really appreciated. I have seen the benefit of getting involved in extramurals. In the beginning of my teaching practicals, the students would hardly listen to me, and this meant that I would scream and shout, which only exacerbated the situation. As time went on, and as I got involved in their lives, and as they could see I was not just another student teacher who was telling them what to do and who thought they were better than them, they could see that I genuinely cared and that I had taken an interest in them. They began to slowly respect me, and by the end of it, I truly believed that they had respected me and that I respected them. Not only do I believe that I played a role in these students' lives, but I believe that they played a role in mine. If I compare myself to the teacher I was when I first arrived, it's like chalk and cheese. I also feel like I am a very different person. I believe I've become more empathetic, more understanding, and that I am able to think on my feet at a much faster rate. I've also known when to say no. While this may sound funny, I have a tendency to take on more than I can bear, which exacerbates the situation since I'm not always the most organized person. I have grown hugely as a student, hugely as a teacher, and hugely as a person, but I've also learned that as much as you are the teacher, you are also the student. You can never stop learning, and you can never stop learning from your students. They are who you are there for at the end of the day, and you need to make sure that you are the right teacher for them. I believe I've grown in the fact that I can walk into a classroom confidently, and that I feel that I can deal with most discipline strategies or discipline issues, and that I can implement the necessary strategies. I also think that I have learned to balance my life and to show how teaching plays an important role, but also how when to have a social life and when to leave work at work. Teaching has showed me the important role that teachers play, that the admin behind it, the preparation behind it, is all worth it. I started as a rather timid, maybe a little bit aggressive teacher who expected students to respond when spoken to, and adopted quite a behaviorist approach. During my time, I believe I am slowly becoming a more well-rounded teacher and using constructivism much better in my classroom. I am seeing the importance of interaction and of not using negative reinforcements. I believe that I am able to step back and assess myself, that I am able to acknowledge where I've had my shortcomings, and I am able to fix those. I believe I am a confident teacher, a teacher who is willing to make a difference, and I now can see the importance of getting involved with these students' lives. I hope that I can continue to grow as a teacher, and that I can be a teacher that touches and changes students' lives, and that I can continue to grow. I believe that these last few months have been extremely beneficial and have changed my life in a very big way.